In a big green forest, a fox and a stork lived side by side. They were neighbors. The fox was very tricky and only thought about himself. One sunny morning, he had a mischievous idea. He decided to invite his neighbor, the stork, for dinner. He went to her house and said, "Hello, stork. Would you like to come to my house for dinner tonight?" The stork was very surprised. The fox was not usually so friendly, but she was a kind bird, so she happily said yes. She thought it was a nice thing for the fox to do. That evening, when the sun began to set, the stork walked to the fox's house. She was excited to share a meal with her neighbor. She used her long, thin beak to gently knock on the door. Tap, tap, tap. The fox opened the door with a big, sly smile. "Welcome, dear stork. Please come in," he said. As the stork stepped inside, a wonderful smell filled the air. The fox had made a delicious soup. Her tummy rumbled a little. She couldn't wait to taste it. The fox led the stork to the dining table. He brought out the soup, but it was served in two very flat, shallow plates. The fox could easily lap up the soup with his tongue. "Slurp, slurp. Isn't this soup delicious?" he asked, pretending to be a good host. But the poor stork could not eat anything. Her long, thin beak was useless with the flat plate. She could only dip the very tip of her beak into the soup, getting just a tiny drop. She was very hungry and very disappointed. The fox watched her struggle and secretly laughed. He finished all of his soup quickly while the stork's plate remained full. The stork understood that the fox was playing a mean trick on her. She felt sad, but she didn't show it. Instead, she politely thanked the fox and went home with an empty stomach. The stork was not angry, but she knew she had to teach the fox a lesson about being kind. So the next week, she went to the fox's house. "Hello, fox," she said cheerfully. "Thank you for the dinner last week. I would like to invite you to my house for dinner tomorrow night." The fox's ears perked up. He loved free food. He quickly accepted the invitation. He thought to himself, "The stork is not as clever as I am. She won't be able to play a trick on me. I will get to eat a wonderful meal." He was already dreaming about the delicious food. The next day, the fox arrived at the stork's home. Just as he got close, he smelled something amazing. The stork was cooking a savory stew with fish and herbs. The smell made his mouth water. The stork welcomed him inside with a warm smile. "I'm so glad you could come, fox," she said. "Dinner is ready." She then came out of her kitchen carrying two tall, beautiful jars. The jars had long, narrow necks, and they were filled to the top with the wonderful stew. The fox looked at the jars, tempted by the sight and smell of the food. He was so hungry. The stork easily put her long, thin beak into her jar and began to enjoy the delicious stew. I hope you like it," she said to the fox between bites. The fox tried to do the same. He tried to put his snout into the jar, but the neck was too narrow. His mouth got stuck. He tried to lick the stew from the top, but he could only get his tongue on the very rim of the jar. He couldn't reach the food inside at all. All he could do was sit there, smelling the wonderful stew while his belly rumbled loudly. The stork finished all the stew in her jar, feeling full and happy. The fox could only watch. The fox felt very foolish. He understood now how the stork had felt at his house. He had been tricked in the same way he had tricked her. He didn't want to admit it, but he knew he deserved it. He quietly said goodbye to the stork and walked home with a very, very hungry belly. He had learned his lesson. The moral of the story of the fox and the stork is very simple but very important. You should always treat other people the way you want to be treated. In the story, the fox was unkind and played a mean trick on the stork. He served food on flat plates that she couldn't eat from. He didn't think about her feelings at all. Later, when the stork served food in tall jars that the fox couldn't eat from, the fox finally understood what it felt like to be treated badly. He learned about the consequences of his selfish actions. This story teaches us that being thoughtful and showing respect to others is very important. Being unkind or tricky often comes back to you in the end. It reminds us all to be good friends and good neighbors. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you like it. See you next video. Bye-bye.